So now that it's been nearly 1 month since Pokemon Legends ZA has been released, I got a bunch of things to say about it. But first, is it a good game or a bad game? Is it a woohoo game or a boohoo game? Anyways, that's all in this video. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so Pokemon Legends ZA, you might be wondering, why am I doing a review now? It's been a month. What in the world? We're moving on. But hold on your second, I just finished the game just recently. I know it took me quite a long time to beat this game, but let me explain why. I feel like I was more engaged with the game, trying to catch every single thing that I could possibly do. I wanted to 100% the game before even completing the story. Now, let's just say that the story definitely wasn't as engaging as I wanted it to be. But that still doesn't excuse the fact how it was so fun being able to just do battles after battle after battle. Having the full live action combat really felt more immersive in the game. And I felt like I was hooked into the gameplay for at least the first 2 weeks of the game. And then catching more and more Pokemon really made me realize how fun this actually is. But this definitely doesn't come with its drawbacks. Like the story. The story definitely isn't something that I wanted to do. Every time that I was free from the story, I didn't want to do the story whatsoever. I just wanted to go and catch more and more Pokemon. But to get more and more Pokemon, you had to progress through the story. And that definitely was where it took a turning point for me. And at some point, I was just like, okay, let's just power through the story. Because the story just isn't good. Now, in most Pokemon games, stories aren't actually where Pokemon's strong suit actually is. It definitely doesn't feel like Pokemon Company takes the most attention to the story. Well, sure, there's hundreds of thousands of words inside of the dialogue, but like, maybe at some point we could see voice acting, then the story would feel more engaging. But where it really took a turning point for me was when the story just kept pausing and then repeating itself. Now, this was something that I really felt like Pokemon definitely could have fixed at some point. So in this game, the main objective is to go and hunt down Mega Rogue Pokemon so you can save the day. So you can save the city from ever becoming pretty much evil city. But with that, you have to fight 3 Mega Rogue Pokemon, and then you have to do your ZA Royale, which pretty much it's the same thing over and over again. Now I feel like they definitely realized how boring of a concept this actually is because of the fact that they may just skip from like S all the way to E, which is something that is very, very interesting. Why would you skip half of the game so you didn't have to put it in there or something, or to remove some of the tedious aspect of this game? But besides all of the story content and focusing more on the gameplay itself is so good. The immersive battling, it feels alive. It feels like you're Ash Ketchum. You're watching a TV show and you're like, my goodness, this is awesome. It really is amazing like that, and it feels sort of like Pokemon Unite in that sort of sense. You have all your wheels of move, and you can use any move at any time, which is really awesome. And you might notice that you were able to completely customize how you wanted that to be. Would you want 7-second moves all the way around, or do you want 1-second move, and then another like 2-second move, or like 5-second move, and then an 8-second move, or something like that? That is really completely up to you, and using that advantage in turn of battle, which was really awesome. You could pretty much spam your entire wheel of move, and then it'll reset. By the time that the last one is done with probably the less cooldown, you had more and more time to do all of these battles, which was really cool. You can just spam around your moves. Or did you want a well-rounded Pokemon which had pretty much strong moves all the way across the board? So you had something like Thunderbolt, or you had something like Fire Punch or Ice Punch. I had a Pokemon that had Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and then we had a Rock Blast or something on the top, which really did work well. Now, of course, this was Ampharos. And the Mega Pokemon in this game really do work well. They really work well together. Mega Pokemon in this game, there's a lot of them. There's over 60 Pokemon that you can collect. And it's pretty much like you're playing some sort of catch-em-all game where, I mean, hey, You're playing Pokemon after all. But you gotta collect them all. Like you're shiny hunting and you got a whole bunch of mega orbs to collect. And that's pretty much where it sort of stands out. But overall, what I'm trying to say here is the collecting in this game is honestly really fun. You might just say it's a little tedious how you have to do over 1,000 battles to get the shiny charm. You don't even have to complete the Pokedex nowadays to get the shiny charm. And you have to get all the Mega Knights to get the shiny charm. Which the shiny charm alongside is honestly a 250 hour grind. Which is crazy to me. Why in the world is it 250 hours to get the shiny charm? And shiny charm aside, I feel like getting Pokemon as a whole definitely are really amazing. They're really amusing. Now, shiny Pokemon, sure, they are pretty difficult or easy to get, but it still is really, really fun at the end of the day. Like at some point, there was an AFK method where I definitely used to get some shiny Pokemon. But in other ways, you can do this without the AFK method by using a turbo controller with macros and stuff installed. Hey, that's all great in your books if you like something like that. Or do you think that shiny Pokemon are too easy at this point? But whatever the case may be, all of those things are really awesome. And I honestly thought that I was going to hate the city. But here I am just having a great time inside the city, going from rooftop to building, and trying to get as many Pokemon as I can collect. Heck, there was even a place that I wanted to get a shiny Dratini, so I ran across a bridge multiple times trying to get that shiny Dratini. Let's just say that I didn't have the shiny charm, so it didn't go too well. But anyways, all of those things aside really makes for a really awesome gameplay, and I hope for Generation 10 we see something similar to this gameplay, because I felt more in tune with Pokemon. But now, going into the negative side of this game. Now we're going sort of positive, negative, positive, negative. So let's go straight to positive, negative. Anyways, the story. Now I previously talked about the story just a little bit. But diving straight deep into the story, the reason why I felt like it was more lackluster than anything else is because you're pretty much sitting there clicking one button all the time. Who really cares about all this extra fluff? I just want to get into the gameplay, so let me get into the gameplay. Anyways, the story itself is a little saggy mess because hey, you pretty much do the same thing for 5 times over and then you're finally free, till about the end of the game. You still got a 1 hour long tutorial, which I feel like, why do you need a 1 hour long tutorial? If anything, send me to training boot camp that takes 5 minutes instead of 1 hour. Because I feel like the 1 hour tutorial was just fluff. That's it. Like, it really doesn't make sense why you need this giant tutorial to you just sitting there clicking one button. Tutorial in Pokemon games absolutely suck. I feel like they should go back to how the original games were, where you were able to pretty much complete the tutorial within 5 minutes. It teaches you how to catch. Okay, click this button, this button, this button. You're free to go. Voila, have fun. I know what a Pokemon Center does. But if you don't know, maybe it's your first time playing a Pokemon game, well then you have the option, okay, I am from a different region, we don't have Pokemon Centers, explain to me what this actually does. I think that that definitely would have been of a perfect way that you can do this. It would make so much sense in this way. But now, if we're looking at specifically the end of the game, the end of the game was amazing. After you did pretty much the whole fluff of a story that there was, doing the same thing over and over again, doing the ZA Royale, which was pretty much just battling, which, hey, I'm not complaining, it was fun. The multiple different challenges that you were able to do is really great. I honestly did have a lot of fun with the challenges that you were able to do all of this, which was great. But, you know, the end of the game was where I was really excited. I wanted to know, how in the world can I get Zygarde now? Can I get Zygarde? Is it finally my time to get Zygarde? Oh my goodness, it's maybe my time to get Zygarde. It turns out that it's not your time to get Zygarde. You don't really ever get Zygarde until the actual post-game. But when you're fighting into the end battle, you see a giant Floette just turned into a weird tentacle thing. Now, I didn't read the story whatsoever, so my assumption is Floette got consumed by the dark energy the Mega Rogue energy and then turned Floette into a weird octopus looking thing, and it was your job to go and fight all the octopus things, and as your way there, you had to fight Mega Rogue Pokemon. Now this was really cool. Now it wasn't really Mega Rogue Pokemon, they were more like Mega Pokemon but Rogue, so essentially Mega Rogue Pokemon but just normal Rogue Pokemon, which was super weird. But overall, you fight more of them, and then all of a sudden, you reach probably arguably the worst boss fight in the entire game, or Pokemon as a whole. You get there, and you fight these flower things. Now, luckily, Zygarde comes to the rescue. You get to actually use Zygarde this time around, 100% form Zygarde. And this right here is fantastic, because you finally, like, Zygarde is super powerful. But then you're stuck here doing the same flower boss fight, and then once you get rid of the 2 tentacles, Zygarde comes back, you do it all over again, and then you have another chance to do it all over again, which is such a horrible thing. But eventually, I feel like maybe this is where the budget really comes in. The live action sort of cutscenes, my golly, were they ever good. They really were super clean when it looks right at it. I thought that definitely was a super fun way that I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a cool cutscene. But maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I thought it was really cool. And then finally seeing Mega Zygarde, I was like, what in the world? I caught a stone and then I turned into Mega Power, and now I got a Mega Zone. Now I got a Mega Zyarnite, which overall was really cool. You give it the Zygarde, and there it goes. The tower completely destroyed. And then the credits roll, which the credits, my golly, these credits were so good. The music itself was like amazing. It really made me get up, stand up after that long, I would say fun, mixed with like sitting there and clicking one button. Was like doing the boogie. It was so great. But overall, Pokemon Legends ZA 1 month later, there's definitely a lot of things that are great, like the gameplay itself. Story sucks, we're just going to handle that immediately. Windows seem flat, if you noticed, you know. But overall, game, I would say on my official rankings of games itself, maybe a 70%, I would say. Now, of course, I feel like the game definitely piggybacks off of a lot more of being able to explore and catch Pokemon by yourself. But without that, there's really nothing else. It's just like sit there, you're clicking one button, you just keep clicking, you keep clicking, you keep clicking. This game really needs voice acting. It is something that Pokemon games need. Voice acting, it would be amazing. But I think that I definitely had a fun adventure. Like I said, love shiny hunting. I love going into the wild areas, catching more and more Pokemon, and finally using Mega Pokemon that I haven't been able to use for over 10 years is honestly really crazy. I was having a great time using these Pokemon. And there's definitely a lot of hidden secrets inside of this game, which are great, and I gotta say that some of the side quests are really fun. Like going up some scaffolding with Froggy, or Froakie, I should say. But overall, that definitely was a very interesting way to play a Pokemon game, and would I say it's definitely the best Pokemon game? Well, of course not, but I think it's definitely a fun Pokemon game, and hopefully Pokemon Generation 10 can go farther towards this direction in gameplay. Not story, but gameplay itself. Come on guys, it's 2025, can we please see some voice acting? I think Pokemon games as a whole would be much greater with voice acting. Pretty much every games now have some sort of voice acting, even if it's more like a meep, and a mop, and a boop, and a blow. Anyways, sort of like Animal Crossing. But overall, what do you think about this? Do you think Pokemon Legends ZA is a good game or a bad game? Because wow, the pure amount of hackers nowadays is pretty crazy when you look at it. If you know, you know. You played some sort of online battle and all of a sudden there's a level 300 Giga Charizard that is pretty much taking up the entire map that you can't see your Pokemon, which is crazy. So anyways, you can get a bunch of different things doing that. Yeah, what do you think about this game? You think it's too too much story content. I just want to play the game. Do you think it's bad? I don't know. Let me know what your opinion is in the comments section down below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and consider to hit the like button, maybe subscribing if you're new. I do a bunch of different Nintendo content on this channel: Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, pretty much everything associated to Nintendo. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.